Vanakkam. Welcome to this course on classics in neuroscience. We have been looking at neuropsychiatry and the breakthroughs in the field of psychopharmacology in the 1950s. In the previous video, we looked at lithium and minor tranquilizers and meprobamate. In this video, we will look at benzodiazepines, specifically on Librium and Valium. So, the initial success of meprobamate excited the pharmaceutical companies who were asking their chemists to find more chemicals that were having the desirable qualities of psychosedative. Leo Sternbach at that time took a radical approach, the risky approach of trying out entirely new compounds for this purpose, and he had earlier worked with some other chemicals in Poland that was used as dyestuffs, for example in 3,1,4 benzodiazepines that had some biological activity. All these have a basic side chain which is active in many drugs with biological activity, but many of his compounds did not really yield the desired effects. The company asked him to move on to other projects because you can't keep this fishing expedition on, for example. You can't keep on fishing for new compounds in an entirely new field. So, he was cleaning out his shelf and he found that there was one last compound that he had earlier synthesized that was left over. He just sent it for testing. That compound was Rho 50690. It was sent to test and it was found that this compound was a potent muscle relaxant and sedative with no general anesthetic properties and apparently devoid of any autonomic effects, and all this with a very low toxicity, very desirable quality as a muscle relaxant. It was later found that this was actually quinazoline 3-oxide, a type of benzodiazepine class, and it was later sold with the generic name chlordiazepoxide. But the initial results were discouraging because participants were sleepy and they were dizzy with slurred speech, but later it was found that in lower doses it worked wonderfully well. In the United States, it was sold under the market name Librium, but this had slightly bitter taste. So, people were working to identify a compound that had less bitter to taste. That was later identified as diazepam or Valium. In 1963, the exact mechanism was not understood, but only in the 1960s later it was found that the benzodiazepines had an effect on the inhibitory synapses related to the neurotransmitter gamma aminobutyric acid or GABA. The exact actions of benzodiazepines as anticonvulsant in the treatment of epileptic seizures, it awaited the future, but this was identified in the 1960s as a relaxant. With this, we come to the end of this video. In this video, we looked at benzodiazepines, Librium and Valium. Thank you for your attention.